It's okay to be the family member who stepped back, the one who stopped calling, stopped showing up, stopped carrying a role that was never safe to begin with. Walking away isn't always anger or bitterness. Sometimes it's just self-preservation. It's choosing to peace over pain. You are allowed to distance yourself from anyone who makes you feel small and invisible and unworthy. Even if you shared blood. Family isn't about obligations or forcing closeness. It's about respect, safety, and care. And if you had to find those things somewhere else, that doesn't make you cold, it makes you brave. Hello, everybody. As the world recently has become, in the last 6 years, into a mental status, will society ever recover themselves from the mental lockdown, the mental breakaway that has happened with everybody around the world? That little literature I just read was mostly literature that was put out pre-2020 as chosen souls, light workers, light beings, Christ consciousness, many people that started rising up from the occasion. And there was a calling in 2017 of the first. And then by 2019, there was actually a shift. And people like myself and my high commander, Archangel Michael, went through a massive event. It was basically, in a way, it was a rapture and the expansion of pulling 20% that were awakened. Pareto's principle, 80-20. It's the law of what 20% does and 80% doesn't. Many people got caught up in a lot in a 3D environment. And then when things started coming directly at you, with this virus, with this lockdown that happened, many people got entrapped over fear and the unknown and the vibration level that was on the earth at the time. Many of us were here to rise it up at the time, and things went really way off the spectrum where it should have gone. Many people lost people over fear in many different situations. Stuff that people didn't understand, couldn't control, but tried to control many others in these situations. But millions of people lost their jobs, lost their families, lost their hopes, lost their dreams, lost their homes. Divorce rate went up. Relationships fell. The coldness got more. More people lived more fear, locked out. All the masks. All the places that we couldn't go into. All the different situations that arose in these times. And humanity is now in a mental status. Will we ever recover from this? As the last many years now, more and more people do not connect at any level, even at a job, even on the street, even at the friendship level, and the relationship level of a man and a female. People just go and exist. Most of the time right now, it looks like a bunch of robots walking around. There's a lot of people asleep, lost, in themselves, inside themselves, walking around. But you watch them walk around, and they go away from you. They go across the street. You're standing in a store somewhere, and they just look at you. Many people just are shut off. Not even in there. Soulless. So many people that I have talked to that go to jobs and go to many places, supermarkets, health offices, whatever it is that's taking you many places. Many of you have had the same situation happen with you. You've been ignored, or you've been waiting, or they're not even acknowledging. Nobody calls, nobody talks. And it's almost that it's gone into a 2D paradigm now. It's basically just we're two lines. 3D was a box. Most people put themselves in the box. Ran away, put a wall up through the construct of people about what's going to happen. To protect yourselves, save yourself. Many people didn't save anything. Now the world is just in a very strange, weird place. The lockdowns did massive damage to a lot of people. With mental awareness right now, especially in this month. There's a lot of depression. Depression starts out with the lowering of the vibration. Staying in the fear. Love, unconditional love, is the highest frequency on the earth. Most people just balk at it, or they just look at it, or it's superficial. Men and women aren't connecting on any level any longer in most places. If you are, you're just in the room filling space with each other most of the time. Don't know what to say, don't know what to talk about, don't know what to do. Looking for a different direction, looking for something more. But the reality in people's minds, they've lost. There's so much going on out there, but people walked away. They've gone back to sleep, back into another dimension. And that's, where the depression and dementia and all the other, so-called diseases that come upon, that drag you back in. Your nervous system gets beat up. Your health deteriorates, and that's what depression is descending, and then it just starts causing the disease and the mind, and where the mind just starts shutting down, and it's like we're not meant to be alone. We're not meant to be away from each other, but we need to be connected with good people when we are, and it's got to be a full-on give and take. And these days it's not. Men have just walked away, lost themselves. Women go to their jobs, go to their work. They go out on all these other platforms. They're busy trying to find their themselves there. Many men are paying for the OnlyFans just to get the same superficial views and likes that they need, and you get nothing in return. And it's just soulless, and it's emptiness, and it's disheartening to see. It's generations that came up. They wanted more virtual reality. It reminds me of like a Star Trek episode, basically going in a simulator room and just asking for your favorite backdrop. But this backdrop I sit behind me is real. I can physically touch it, I can look at it, I can feel it, I can hear it. I can go step my legs in it, put my feet in it. But society is gone, where they're just walking aimlessly, soullessly, and humanity is, I've said before, is on life support, but they're in a mental spiral. And it seems that we're descending more and more instead of rising up. On the conscious level of the people that, of many families, call them the black sheep or the outcasts, were the ones that usually were carrying the truth. But it always became a situation or a lie across the table for many because they didn't want to hear the reality and the truth of many things that happen. And usually there was always one in a family that had the shining light and was always dubbed down. But you look at that on a greater scale, what humanity did with each other over a lockdowns and a situation that nobody had control in, but you had control in yourself to look inside and realize that you're still here, and that there was many things that could take care of you, and protect you, especially coming to thee and arming up and finding your way, with all the little tools and health tricks to bring yourself up. But everything's been masked over, covered up, and now it's humanity's just in existence now. It's just emptiness out there. People stand there at their jobs looking at each other, but nothing gets done. Everything's just kind of like on autopilot. I don't know what this is going to look like for the, going on into the future. If we don't start finding our ways back. Start looking at what's out there more and getting out of that fear-based mentality before more people get lost. Because the mental, the mental stability is on the rise. It's not on the decline. And just that, the human connection, the man and woman connection, is just falling away, and that's going to, wipe out generations to come. And people are just, wanting a connection, but not the connection. And when they get to the point, it always just veers them in an opposite direction. It always gets to this stop, or just basically you're standing in front of each other and nobody can commit or make that next move. And it's like, it's not for you, it's not what I want. I don't know. It's just every time lately, as I've been observing what's been going on in the world, it's like it just comes there and then there's like a wall. And it seems that's what's happened with everybody, is that there's a wall. You put a wall up, and for people, many, that wall gets higher and higher and it's harder to break down. And there's just more walls coming up all over the place. And this protection mode. And this wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be out here in nature to hear the birds and, see the water, see the mountains, wherever it is that, would take you out of that and shape your mind a little more, instead of all the doom and gloom and the fear and, the unknown and all these people that are standing there, putting all this on top of you, and starting out with the first phrase of theirs. That's what families have done, in the past, and have been going on for decades, where, throwing all this stuff onto other people to carry it. It's not anybody's to carry. And that's why it's like it's okay to bow out. And if that's the case, then that's what happened. But somewhere along the lines, we have to get back in, and in a different perspective, a different look in life, and see beyond. And so that love and the light and the connection can come into people so that they can rise up. But every time it seems to be like a situation, everybody's still hanging on. They're going to these worthless jobs that are taking them, in many different areas. There's many different things that people look at. They're looking at the neighbor, what they have. They're looking at all the different situations. But, it's here in the heart, first of all. It's up here in the mind. You got to start looking within, in yourselves, and connect those two and be stable first and foremost on your own feet, so that you can make the proper decisions with the relationships that can actually follow through. But everybody's got to start getting to this point. Problem is everybody's still hanging on to that Medea, hanging on to what they're telling you all day long, staying out of the truth instead of staying in the lies and the fear and the lower density. That's the biggest cheat sheet that I'm giving you. Basically, when you stand up in front, when the judgment comes, is to, what did you do internally? What did you do with the truth? Because that's what has to happen. Is people got to start listening to the truth because it's there. But there's many that want it tripped up in the lies because it's easier to keep the veil on and stay down low and stay in the middle of it all, in the sheep kind of life, and just have the pack mentality that it's safer and you're protected in it, but you're not. You're falling away. And as I've seen in the last 4 or 5 days now, it's dropped more into a 2D environment. And that's not a good place for anybody to be in. There's so much here in the world, is to, vibe and put life in. But everybody was too much with the money, too much with the, the health that is ailing you. All the different things that keep getting put, in front of you through all these people that run on this low vibration. You start sharing it. I don't know if I said a story one time, but I had 2 dogs a long time ago. Put them in the same room. They shared the same the same brain, same mind. Everywhere they go. I couldn't get them to do anything else except for when they were together. They would do their own thing, but they'd all just sit there. And then I brought in some more dogs, and they started sharing the same thing and doing the exact same thing. And I brought in a couple more. But when I separated every one of them and made them all their individual and put them in different places, they started doing different things. But it's not that they didn't interact with each other, but it's just when we're in larger groups listening to this fear porn, all this stuff that's coming all day long, and the spread and circus of information that's coming from groups that are paying people to stay in this low vibration, to keep the consciousness down, so that you can't see, you can't do, you can't be yourself. You can't break out. Every one of those dogs, they were perfectly fine. They came back too, and I've had them for as long as they were. But the point that we get at is that you have to start working with yourself and trying different things to find out what works, what doesn't work, so that you can be your own authentic, original. I like the word the classic. Are you classic? Are you authentic? Are you real? We've got an NPC society going on right now. And that's one of the things that activated Archangel Michael and me, because basically now it was treading and it's taken away the free will, and that activated us to come and stand on the earth and come through the massive event as this was all going on. And we had to realize we had to raise this up because there was so much lowering it down. So you need to ask yourself today, are you original? Are you classic? Are you authentic? Do you have what it takes to stand on your own 2 feet there and find your way out of all of that other? Cut the cord on that Medea, because what it is, And everybody kind of dances around it, and I'll make it a little bit clearer, because I always get the return as I hear it all the time going through everybody's living room. We don't want to listen to what's on the internet. No, the internet's a wild, wild west. The media is a controlled environment. The lockdown was a controlled environment. That's when you get the attention of the people. And so the ones that want control paid and pay through it daily for you to be in the control. I give you the ability to find your way out, break out, and with the tools that are there, so that you can move over to the internet to still have a little bit of the TV life and everything else, and find your way through the lies and the truth. But you will not find much in the way of any truth unless they have to. But most of the time, it's just sending you over in another area, giving you either like a false flag or some kind of crisis situation or something to lower you into that fear base and keep you there. And the hard reality is most people are paying people to do this to them without consciously, subconsciously even knowing. And that is where the mental status is at right now, is that people have paid out to basically have people keep you in this and miss out on many, many things that the Creator, creation have given you, and the ability to use your mind. Find your soul, find your spirit, find your spark, find your life. To find you so that you can stand there and be original, classic, classy, but your own authentic self, with the DNA codes that you have, the light codes that are in you, to bring that truth, to separate you from that pack that's keeping you dimmed and keeping it low. So work on finding yourself and raise your consciousness. And that's the first part, is to start working on your health. Getting rid of all the other stuff that you're listening to, and the people that you're around that are all still living in that fear status. Work on the foods, because the foods are the biggest thing at this moment that is affecting many. Everything from beverages to processed foods, and all the chemicals and all the other stuff. Just a brisk walk, just getting outside, taking the break from others for a moment, and finding the right people in your life and raising them up with each other, with you, and once you start radiating that light and you start being that thing, it should attract more. But the problem that we've got still is that there's many that are attracting, but they're just standing there staring, because they don't even know what to do, because they're not even working inside. So it's like we have to get a lot of this other noise and bread and circus and everything else that's coming. The energies are rough. The frequencies are coming from all over. They're doing everything they possibly can, but one step at a time. And the biggest thing is the electrical current, because I've said this before. Electricity is the biggest thing that we are all, and we have interrupters that are interrupting. And I'm just a little bit amazed right now at how many people have been shut off. And for me, I'm working on it right now to figure this out, but I already know what it is. But it's for everybody else to start figuring it out too, to turn themselves on. Because humanity can't keep going in the direction it's going, because it's already showing its colors at the moment where we're going, and it's not a good pace we're on right now. So rise up and above. Find yourself inside there. Find your light. Find the truth that's been given to you. What will you do with the truth that is given to you. How will you use it? How will you receive it? And how much will you shine with it? Have a wonderful day, and a blessed day. We'll see you on the next one.